I'll call this meeting to order. This time I'd like to ask Mr. Coward to please lead us in our prayer and our pledge.
Please bow with me. Heavenly Father, as we come to you tonight, we come to you just humble, and we thank you for being able to gather here. We thank you for being citizens of Levy County. We thank you for the students and the staff that we have. Lord, we pray for wisdom and guidance as we come together and that as we deliberate and as we make decisions, that we'll keep you first and foremost, and that these decisions will be for the benefit of our students and our staff. Lord, we just pray for those in this world that are dealing with suffering and illness and death, and we just lift them up. And Lord, we know our communities have had that pain, and we just ask that you just remove that pain and continue to support and strengthen those that have lost loved ones. We ask all these things in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Go address the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Coward. Board members, do I hear a motion to approve our agenda?
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you very much. I'd like to welcome everyone here. Thank you for being here tonight, coming to our school board meeting. We're happy to have you. Mr. Coward.
At this time, so I'd like to bring up, Ms. Tanya Taylor, our coordinator of CTE at Avid. She's got a few remarks, and then she's going to introduce.
Thank you for having me. Good to see you guys. I wanted to take a moment before our FBLA and DECA sponsors came up to highlight their CTSO successes from last year, just for an opportunity to shed some light and educate anyone who may be new to this role or new to our district on the CTSOs that exist within our CTE programs. We know in education there are 1,053 million acronyms that exist, but we don't always know what they stand for or why we have the organizations attached to some of our classes within our programs. So I thought this would be a great time to make that connection. We're all very familiar with the FFA, and they do a lot in our community, and it's something that we have had here in Levy County for a really long time. But I'm seeing a large evolution to our CTSOs in our CTE programs with FBLA and DECA, and I think you're going to see a lot more of them on the radar like we are FFA, so I'm excited to have them here today. So what does CTSO stand for? Out of curiosity, no judgment, have you ever heard of the acronym CTSO? Yeah. Perfect. So I had some yeses and some nos, and historically when I'm walking around working with our district instructional team and I say CTSO, they're like, okay, cool, club, FFA, is that what you mean? And so that's what helped me understand, even moving into this role, that it's a specific career and technical student organization that is attached to the actual CTE program that exists at the secondary school. And you can see that the Florida DOE is very specific, that the organization is meant to enhance the student's academic performance, and it's supposed to improve the relevance of that curriculum that's being taught inside the classroom. So as we're very much familiar with the FFA, in that they compete in competitions that are aligned directly to the standards that they teach in their programs, that is a CTSO. FBLA and DECA are the same, one and the same. So what they're teaching in their classrooms is directly aligned to their standards, obviously. And the events that they compete in are that direct correlation as well. So really that enhancement of student academic performance and engaging in those real world situations. So the connection between CTE programs and CTSOs essentially is an instructional tool providing that curriculum-oriented activities that students can get that career and leadership knowledge in, gain those personal skills, and really make the CTE program relative to them. So if they're in Mr. Wilson's gaming program and they're in the FBLA student organization, they're competing in competitions in which they are designing games in the classroom because that's the curriculum and the standards of that course, but then they're using what they create in the classroom to compete in those competitions, really highlight what they're doing standards-based in that course. So I just wanted to give you a visual, because if you're not an auditory learner, maybe you're a visual one. And so on the DOE, what our CTE teachers use that's very different from your core content classes is something called the CTE curriculum frameworks. And so every CTE program that we have here in Levy County and across the state has what's called a curriculum framework, and it's what the teacher uses to identify the standards that should be taught for the class, because in the world of CTE, there is no beautiful box curriculum and textbook that does all the things like we see with ELA or with math. And so instead, as CTE teachers, we're incredibly creative in finding the resources and the tools to teach what the standards and the frameworks tell us we need to teach. What I wanted to highlight in the framework is you'll notice, for example, the program title at the very top says Hospitality and Tourism, which is a program we have over at Cedar Key that Ms. Gill teaches. You can see when you look at the progression of the curriculum framework, I have circled in green the CTSO. So the actual career and technical student organization is identified in the curriculum framework. It's identified there, which I'll reveal to you in a moment, because of the relevance to how we spend our Perkins grant funding. And so if we were to say, bring FBLA to culinary, it's not showing up on the curriculum framework. So if I were to spend Perkins money to support something related to curriculum and FBLA in culinary, I really couldn't do that by Florida statute and what Perkins is saying. So there is a connection to how we also spend our CTE program dollars as well as support CTSOs. And then you'll notice continuing in the curriculum framework, it just identifies what courses are to be taught to meet that program completion. So my second example is highlighting, Morgan, if you don't mind, thank you, sir. Mr. Wilson's program, the Gaming and Simulation program at Bronson Middle High School, and you'll notice that the CTSO attached to that is FBLA. And then my third example, I think one that we are familiar with, just to kind of make that connection, is, for example, agri-technology. We can see the CTSO outlined there as FFA. So I had mentioned talking about Perkins, and essentially that Strengthening Career and Technical Education grant is our Perkins grant that supports CTE, but it encourages CTSOs in the improvement of our CTE programs. So we can't spend all the money on CTSOs, and it's very specific on what I'm allowed to spend those funds on. But the fact that the DOE sees the importance in CTSOs and is allowing for some available expense to be used in order to support those, I think really tells that our student organizations are a huge part of the success of our CTE programs. So, by the way, fingers crossed, this summer it was mentioned the possibility of the Florida DOE creating a specific Perkins grant that is just for CTSOs. So we receive a Perkins secondary grant allocation, a Perkins rural grant allocation, and we're hoping for a third one that would be specific to helping support our CTSOs. We'll see. It's in conversation right now. And so I just wanted to highlight for you what CTSOs we specifically have here in Levy County. They're highlighted in green. Everyone that's up there are the most common ones you'll see in other districts, but here today you're going to learn a little more about DECA and the awesome things they're doing with DECA. We have FBLA as well, FFA, HOSAs for our health academies both at Chiefland and Williston, and then we are beginning FFEA, the Florida Future Educators, at Chiefland Middle High School with our new Principles of Teaching teacher cadet program there. So, hope that was informational. Now I'm gonna leave it to Mr. Wilson and Ms. Gill on how they are a huge part of our CTSOs growing here in Levy County. So, who's up?
Mr. Wilson, come on up.
I appreciate it. So FBLA last year. Last year was probably our most successful year that I know to date. So can we go to the next slide? All right. So we had 3 teams placed in the state. We had parks, and they were mostly done on like our community service and stuff that we've done in the community. Kind of going off of our, we did the Smash Cancer charity tournament for one of our students. So a lot to come off of that, and we also had a student who placed second in the help desk. But the only drawback, I mean, this being the most successful year, because usually we've had years where like one group makes it in the 5th, and we've never got to that 4th to actually compete. So this year we had 2 of them go this last year, so it was very successful. Unfortunately, when you're in 5th, you don't get to go on to nationals. So we had 2 teams that actually went to nationals, but actually only one made it to nationals, but they qualified. 2 teams qualified. So, and we have grown, just to talk a little bit about FBLA, and since I've become the advisor and stuff, we've grown from like 4 kids to probably one of the top 2 schools in the district. When it comes to FBLA, we regularly at least 20 plus students to compete in state each year. I remember the one year, COVID, when we had 60 kids that went to state, and then COVID kind of messed that up, and a lot of those kids didn't get to experience the state or even nationals at the time. But we've been trying to stay consistent with them. We've stayed in the top 2, and that's how I like it. But to see the growth on it, it's been tremendous. The kids being welcome to it. We also have a lot of kids that you wouldn't expect to do this anymore. A lot of them stepping up, because there's so many things that FBLA covers. You're talking like 60 different competitive events plus. So you're covering so many different career clusters. So there's so many things for different kids that can, graphic design, gaming, video, digital video. Then you also have your business, your accounting, your financing, your business plans, and the list goes on and on. So, like I said, top placements go to nationals. Partnership, they've not seen me the scores, which is kind of strange. All we know is that we didn't make it in the top 10. Just the numbers, just to say, just to make it in the state, we competed like 4,000 kids in Florida to compete in state. And when you get to nationals, though, it goes down to 14,000 kids. And that includes, like, there was kids from Puerto Rico, China. So it is it's very tough. I would tell you, just in Florida, I think there was only about 4 or 5 teams that actually placed in the top 10 from what I saw, that's how competitive it is when it gets to nationals. And it was in Atlanta, Georgia. We only spent one night, and it was quite an experience. The kids enjoyed it, and I mean, to just see how many kids, it's unreal. It's unreal. I mean, you see like kids coming out with their national flags and stuff, and you're like, man. This year though, it is in Orlando. So we're hoping to, this time I'll be able to take more kids, because they do have competitions at nationals. So like, you might not compete, but you get a chance to compete at national level. And of course, hopefully with, that this year we do get a few kids into nationals, because it is very difficult as a small school when you're dealing with schools that have 200 or 300 students in their schools, and you kind of can, they kind of can. It's like it's like a little machine. Like those schools are really, they're really good, and they are hard to do, but we've been blessed, that's for sure. All right, so the pros and cons. I kind of broke it down a little bit. It was the first time that I can't even know for positive. I only found one trophy when I took over FBLA, and the last trophy I saw from nationals in 2004. Somebody won with a business plan, like in 10th place. But since then, I think we've had a couple of kids make it to 5th place. I had one kid that did make it to 4th, but he didn't compete. When it goes to summer, it's all online, so they didn't get to the test. But let's see, great experience. And like I mentioned, 2024 in Orlando, so more opportunities will open up. But cons, and it's something I messed up on personally, and I kind of feel bad about what happened. So we actually had, the reason why one got to compete is because I made a scheduling mistake, and the other kid, they didn't even go with us. They decided to stay, but the day that we were traveling, their their competition was that morning. So, and they're graduating, so that's the tough part. So, I feel that. But, because or not, when you get to that kind of, when you make it that far, you're not prepared. And I wasn't prepared, so I blame myself for that. But like I said, we have not received the grading sheets, and now we've actually started raising a lot more money this time just to be, just so that we don't run into that next year. Because last year, a discussion with Mr. Calvert. I get passionate, I'm sorry. This is, it's one thing when you're involved with things, but anyway, thanks to Superintendent Calvert, he actually called me, and we discussed it, and the board came forward, and we were able to, they paid for all the kids that registered and also paid for the night, and so I'm eternally grateful for that. From what the kids told me, from the ones that did compete, they didn't make it, but I guess they made an impact on the lady, because after they discussed because it was based off of partnership with business, talking about the cancer charity, so they brought her to tears because of that, because it affected her personally. But sometimes it's not about emotional; it's about making sure your presentation is there. But I don't get to see them, so I'm kind of surprised they didn't send the scores out. That's kind of different. I mean, I've seen scores come out before. I don't know why. For this reason, they did not. For me to see where the kids competed, where it landed at. But again, I do appreciate for the help from last year, and this year will be a lot better. It'll be much better, much more prepared, because now we've gone through it. Now I have the experience to make sure it doesn't happen again, especially with the scheduling mistake. And so now I'm back. Okay, I'll get back to it now. I'm going to get my past motion. All right. So, so this year, there's a couple more things we're going to be doing this year that we haven't done in the past. One of our top, so FBLA has their own community service programs that they follow. And last year it was March of Dimes, I think was the state, and the national was like America the Beautiful, clean up places. I guess now their national one's going to be March of Dimes, and they're local. So this year we're going to do as much as we can for raising money for March of Dimes. So we're kind of going through that now. Another thing that I missed out on the opportunity to do is what we call American Enterprise Day. So what it is, you have your students put together like a presentation, and they teach either in elementary school or middle school. We haven't decided how we want to go about it yet, but that will happen November 15th. So we get to tell the kids about American Enterprise, and kind of look forward to it, getting them into, getting in FBLA and stuff like that, and understanding what it consists of. And we're still going to stick with the annual cancer charity tournament is the plan. Because last year we raised like $5,000 for the student. It was like, and the interesting part about this is like, if I mentioned last time I was here, is that kind of like set off like a domino effect for like a UF, like all the different like gaming. People were coming up to them asking them to do the same thing. So like a lot of the people that were in charge of last year kind of like moved on because they were seniors and stuff. But they said the amount of impact that we made just with that, with the TV20 and everything else being involved, I think even the TV20 reporter got some accolades for what she did, what we did for, what she came to the video. But so the word got around to UF now. So UF Gaming like covers like over 2,700 students. But we were like in a little niche they call like stock exchange, so they're mostly Smash Brother tournament. So this year we've actually got the president of UF Gaming involved. She's like ecstatic. She's wanting to like see where we're going to go with it and what we're going to require them, what we're looking at doing. So our goal here is to raise, of course, more money for our student because he's still going through his treatments and stuff like that, and they've been like when he calls you and asks you if y'all gonna be able to help out or anything this year, it's just sad because like their family's going through so much. So I guess the ones that were caused the cells that were causing like having seizures and stuff like that, I guess they've got them under control now. So he's not having seizures, and so he has not been able, of course, to work. His parents have had trouble working, so we're trying to make this a little bit bigger. So we're going to try to increase the games to adding another game to it, which is another popular game. These two games are like a lot of colleges now take on for like scholarships and stuff like that. So it's kind of like one of those things where, and like right now for our esports side of that I do, like those are our top two games. And this year I think they're even the league that I'm in partnership with. They're even doing a humongous, like they're offering like $24,000 scholarships. So if your kids make it into and compete, I think last year I think we won first or second in Overwatch too, in the middle school side. But so they have a competition where they can go. They have a esports arena. I know I'm kind of off topic, so I'm going from, but just the impact of the games that these have. So those are two of the four that they offer where the kids can get scholarships, like $24,000, and there's an esports arena right outside of Patriot Stadium, like Gillette. No, that's not Gillette anymore. I don't know what's called now. Is it still Gillette? Is it still Gillette? So they actually have their own esports like arena. So they're actually having a national competition. So the kids have an opportunity to win about $24,000 worth of scholarships. So so we're starting to see that more as we open, as we've seen, as I got this league, we started this league and stuff like that. We're starting to like more companies come in and kind of like help out and offer these kind of things, so our students have more opportunities now. But back to the games again, sorry. So, being too popular, we're hoping to at least double the amount of kids, at least, or competitors than we did last year. And this year we kind of have like a better idea, and we're looking at more sponsors. So, but yeah, and we're going to be fundraising all the year for nationals, to be prepared for nationals this time around. But I think that's all I have. I know. That's it. All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
Ms. Gill?
Sorry. You're just Carly around. Come a second. Hi. Whatever you're coming with. Hi, guys. I'm Nicole. I'm out at Cedar Key School. Thank you guys so much for letting us to come off the island to the mainland. There's actual civilization and stores out here. Thank you. So I'd like to introduce you. DECA to us is a completely student-led organization. I am just there to give them their spiritual guidance. So we have our DECA Vice President, Ms. Carly Brown, and we have one of our founding DECA members, Joel Hughes. They both got to go to CDC last year and experience the magic. So I really think the beginning part of the presentation coming from them, you guys are just going to feel their excitement. So I'm going to pass it along to them. Go for it, guys.
What is DECA? DECA prepares emerging leaders and entrepreneurs for careers in marketing, finance, hospitality, and management in high schools and colleges around the globe.
DECA also has competitive events as an essential part of the classroom. DECA's industry-validated competitive events are aligned with the national curriculum standards in the career clusters of marketing, business management, and administration, finance, and hospitality and tourism.
DECA helps prepare the next generation to be academically prepared, community-oriented, professionally responsible, and experienced leaders. 98% of DECA members report that they gained skills in problem solving. 97% report that they learned how to communicate thoughts and ideas. 86% report they learned how to work as part of a team. 98% report they gained skills to improve personal and professional behavior.
DECA members, 222,628 high school members, 3,707 high school chapters, 4,478 college members, and 206 college student chapters.
CKS DECA CDC 2023. DECA CDC is a state event that provides competitive events, college and career exhibits, and emerging leaders series. At CDC, you will have an opening session, competition day, a day at Universal, an awards ceremony, and a closing session.
So to add on a little to CDC, this was in Orlando, Florida, so it was just a little bit drive for us. And let me just tell you that our two Levy County locals, as they walked into this gigantic hotel with just students everywhere, I want to say they were a little overwhelmed.
It was really scary, honestly. I was like, oh, okay.
But this was our first attempt to get in. They got there, they did amazing jobs. With both of them, as I was proctoring a different session, I get a text message from our other supervisor that went up with us, Miss Jonya Collins, and she goes, Jewel needs you to talk her off the ledge. Can you just get on the phone? So she hands her her phone, I'm just sitting there for 10 solid minutes, just doing my whole Nicoleisms, and before I know it, Jewel's like, I got this, I'm okay, I'm good. 20 minutes later, Carly, I got the look, but I'm nervous. So we go through that same process. These two students and our rest of our 7 members that went, they know how to get the support and the need they have because they're asking. I also want to say, just for Miss Tanya, do you notice that DECA is all like in capitals and bolded, so it's like very Abbott-y thing? So we're doing cross like collaboration here. Okay, we are Abbott students. We are Abbott students too, yes. When you are at Cedar, you do it all.
Yeah.
Okay, next one, please.
DECA ICDC is an even larger experience than CDC on the international level, with only 5 competitors from each state competition. Going to ICDC is incredible because you're meeting people from all over the world trying to do the same things as you.
So I highly recommend to anybody, if you guys can pull up the 2-minute DECA video about engagement. I cry every time I watch it because I was in that building when they did opening session and there was 22,000 people in one room feeling the excitement and the energy of an opening session, doing pin training, having hat training, everybody in their formal DECA attire was beautiful. And then at opening session, all of a sudden, Optimus Prime walks out on stage from Universal, like the real Optimus Prime, like he could have transformed at any minute. Just these kids getting that experience with the fireworks and like, it's the opening of a concert, like Kiss Army back in the day, right? It was beautiful. So we had 2 students that actually went to ICDC. One was our president and vice president from last year that one has graduated and moved on and is now our first alumni. We also have 2 other teachers that used to be in DECA in high school that are also going to be our alumni members. One of them is our volleyball coach, who literally, when we asked about DECA, he's like, oh my gosh, I was the chapter president. I have to get you all of my DECA clothes. I'm going to put on my blazer. And was so excited because once you are part of an organization like this, it's kind of in your blood. The other part that I'll talk about is I've had these 2 since they were in 7th grade and they are both now juniors. So to see them like smaller versions and now how they're out there and talking and communicating, I would have never pictured either one of these would have done this. And they volunteered to come tonight. I said, hey, I'm going to board meeting if anybody wants to come. And they're like, we're coming. They coordinated their outfits. They did it all. I did nothing. They're like, we're wearing SCD t-shirts. It was great. Okay, next one. So, about CCAS DECA and our goals for the next year. Can I take over this one? Perfect. Okay. So there are multiple different ways to get to ICDC. This year, our national competition is Anaheim, which I think for those of you that know me, it is my mothership. I am a Disney person. California Adventure and Disneyland are like amazing to me. I love it so much. So there's different ways we can get there. We can get there through written papers, which can be 10 or 20-page papers that they are doing this in their own time. It is not 100% classwork time. So that also helps with making sure their writing solo is doing amazing. Yay. Okay, sorry, I was promoting again. You also can do a role-playing conversation, and then you can also be able to get to nationals through our community service and engagements. So this year, we are working on our chapter campaign. Last year we had 10 members, so if we get to 30 members this year, as well as solicit and obtain 20 professional members and sponsors from our community, then we will get 2 seats to ICDC. The students that are not competing will go ahead and be in leadership classes for 2 to 3 days solid. So they are learning how to be a stronger community leader. They are learning how to take their goals and figure out how to navigate that goal. And they are wonderful sessions. Thrive is how they are called, and they're magical. I have actually sat in on a couple, and they're really energetic. It's kind of like going to an Avid session where it's like, oh my gosh, this is great. The second competition we're doing that we're working on is our promotional and community service campaign that will also get us 2 seats. Our professional is an event like this where we're doing school engagements and community engagements where we're talking about DECA. We're having our lovely, lovely board look at our DECA proclamation to acknowledge that November will be DECA month within Levy County. And to make sure that we are not being soft-spoken. We are screaming DECA at the top of our lungs, saying that this is an important opportunity for our students to not only be able to do this in high school, but have the opportunity to do this in their next step through a college organization. Right now, I just found out that Johnson & Wales is giving scholarships to any DECA member that wants to go. The minimum scholarship will be $1,000. And they're also giving full ride scholarships. So those are amazing things just to get that out there a little bit more. We also are doing alumni spotlights, like I spoke of, that we have 2 teachers on campus. We have our volleyball coach. We have Miss Josie Morales, who is our history and Spanish teacher. And then we also have Allie Collins, who graduated last year. So we have our 3 spotlights there. The last thing that we did already was, we were supposed to start this in September, but there was a hurricane that came and kind of like took it off. But in October, we went ahead and we did our first Friday food drive. Our goal was to save and obtain 1 can of food for every student on campus, which we did 250, so we definitely surpassed that. Additionally, we partnered with UF IFAS to collect peanut butter, because that is their mission for October, is to collect as much peanut butter. And we actually collected 480 ounces of peanut butter in addition. So that is amazing things that are all going to be coming back to our food pantry. I think I've got one more slide. Okay, so lastly, hi, Miss Salesperson Nicole. I am always fundraising. It is part of my blood, sweat, and tears. When I was at the city, we did galas. The last gala I did, we raised $18,000 in one night. I don't let people say no to me. So right now, in order to get our 20 professional members, we do have our DECA sponsorships. We get banners that go up, we have the back of the t-shirts, and this is how we fundraise to get to our events. It is something that you have to constantly be thinking about of, okay, do we have enough money? What can we do? Where can we get these kids? So we have individual memberships of $25, family memberships, and then we keep going. My lovely husband who, gosh man, that poor guy, suckers into everything. He is always a platinum member for both restaurants, so he gives me $1,000. Plus, I also have for our festivals that he has a week to give me an invoice, and if he doesn't give it to me within a week, he's donated all of the product. And additionally, on November 9th, we're having our annual Surf or Turf dinner, where we do fried mullet, or we do smoked turkey, and it's all at the cafe, and it's a wonderful thing. So I just want you guys to know that everything that these kids do, 100% of the money goes right back to them. Additionally, in hospitality, if they are a 3-year completer and have earned an industry certification through all of the fundraisings, every completer also gets a $500 scholarship from our school that helps them go to that next level. And it's something that I spoke with a couple of our city commissioners when I transitioned over to the school, and they're like, if you do this, like, we need to make it worthy. We need to get these kids in these programs, we need to get them industry certifications, and we need people in our community that have these certifications. So we decided through our partnerships, let's go for it, and so far every single graduate of our program has received $500, and it is a beautiful thing. So these 2 are 2 of my shining stars. They are writing 10 and 20 page papers this year to hopefully qualify. And we are just aiming for the stars, and we thank you guys all for letting us have the fun we do, because it's really a great thing. Like, we make pancakes for teachers during Teacher Appreciation Week, and we give popsicles out to students for bringing canned food items. So we have kindness, oh yes, we do the 12 days of kindness at Christmas, because everybody gets a little, so we do like, let's give high fives, and let's, get a piece of candy and write a nice post-it. So whatever we can think of to be good at the school is what we do. Right, guys? Yes. So thank you guys so much for the time. We appreciate it. And we would love your partnership and sponsorships, please.
Jewel and Carly, best part of that conference.
Best part of the conference.
For you.
Probably just, I don't know. Honestly, the competition part, the going into the competition and
My best part of the conference is still when they talk about a $20 parfait, because they felt like they had to DoorDash.
yeah.
And it took an hour.
It was a rip-off.
I understand that part.
To me, it's beautiful to see it. My son went to states last year for DECA, and he didn't want to keep going because he's a pole vaulter, and like he didn't want it to clash with regionals. And his scores, looking at the score sheets, it's one of my most favorite things to do. So he's like doing great. He has 10, 10, 10. And then it's like a switch in his head came off. He's like, wait, I don't want to keep going. And then his scores went down to like 5s, 6s. I'm like, did you just stop talking? And he goes, yup. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, well, I looked the part, I talked the part, and I realized I might have been like doing okay. So I just stopped. Okay, you could have did okay and then said, I don't want to go. And he's like, nah, it was more fun that way. So every kid's on their own path, and I can't wait for Anaheim this year. Let's go Disneyland.
Yes. Very excited.
But yes, traveling a day ahead of time is what our plan is, because flights are affordable. So thank you guys all for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all may have said this. What does DECA stand for? Or is it just one of those names?
DECA used to be something. It was like Diversified Education and Collaboration Association. However, they said that no longer is DECA because the workforce has changed so dramatically that they just want it to be DECA. And now we've included finance and entrepreneurship into the organization. So it just kind of is DECA. It's kind of like it's no longer HBO Max, it's just Max. It evolved.
Is FBLA just FBLA? Or?
No, it's teachers.
I know, FFA, I was appalled FFA became FFA and it doesn't stand for anything. Because I'm proud of farmers. I'm proud of whatever all that DECA stuff is. You business leaders too.
Thank you
Embrace your
all, and
name.
thank you very much for being here. We're happy, and I think we'll take a 3-minute recess. We're back in session. At this time, I'll turn it over to Mr. Cowart.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, in honor of DECA being here, so I've got a proclamation. So, whereas November of 2023 has been designated DECA month, and whereas the mission of DECA is to prepare emerging leaders and entrepreneurs in marketing, finance, hospitality, and management, and whereas DECA's guiding principles are designed to explain how DECA fulfills their mission, and whereas DECA is a student organization that encourages the development of business marketing and leadership skills in high school through classroom instruction, student conferences, and competitive events. Whereas DECA enhances the co-curricular education of members through a comprehensive program that integrates into classroom instruction, applies learning, connects to business, and promotes competition. And whereas DECA's activities assist in the development of academically prepared, community-oriented, professionally responsible, experienced leaders, and whereas DECA's attributes and values describe the organization's priorities and standards, including competence, innovation, integrity, and teamwork. Now, therefore, I, Christopher Cowart, Superintendent of Levy County School Board, do hereby proclaim November 1st through 30th, 2023 as DECA month. Madam Chair, so if I could have a point of preference. So, back on September 22nd, so we had an incident at Cedar Key School. And we had a student who was choking. And we had someone who truly embodies the Impact Award. And his training jumped into action and saved the student's life. And so, Sergeant Carl Rogers, if you come forward, we'd love to give you an Impact Award for what you did for that. Brett Rogers was nominated, so by Mr. Slimp and also Mrs. Boyle. So thank you so much for saving that kid's life, and thank you for what you do to keep our kids safe. We truly appreciate you. And I know Cedar Key is really sad, but congratulations on your promotion. So we appreciate you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
And you're welcome to exit if you have things to get going, but thank you very much for being here.
Good job. Excellent, excellent.
Thank you, Mr. Coward. At this time, we'll do item number 6, Dr. Hanlon.
Follow that, Dr. Hanlon.
Sit.
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening. Remind me which one this one is. Is it school improvement?
School improvement,
Okay, thank you. Because I know I'm back to back. I've put the school improvement plans before you for your approval before we submit them to the state for publishing. Our schools worked in a collaborative manner during our admin workshop on their school improvement plans. There were a lot of changes this year based on federal requirements that were not being met in the school improvement plan currently with the state. So there were timelines that were pushed up and templates that were not released late, so it was a big crunch time for them, but they did a really great job getting their school improvement plans done with a short time frame with feedback from the district, and they're finally before you for approval.
This is an actual item.
Yes, certainly. Do we have any questions or any discussion on this?
A lot of work.
A lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Yes, it is. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes for our school improvement plans. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. And the second item on the agenda is our health education curriculum. It has to go before the board for approval each year. We are using the same curriculum provided from extensive training through Unity Family Outreach. I want to make sure that title is correct. They come in and serve our schools in grades 4 through 12. And so before they can get actively working on setting up a schedule, we need to have our board approve our curriculum for this year. The curriculum is the same as last year, so we are still using the same state adopted curriculum. There were a few lessons they may have shaved down because they didn't feel they were appropriate, or they didn't feel like there was enough time to get to as well. So looking for approval on that.
Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
appreciate it.
Dr. Hanlon.
All right. Item number 8, Ms. Kaylee Wade.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am here to talk about insurance renewal. So if it's okay, I'm going to start with the second page. This one. Renewal actions, and then we'll go into the health insurance. So for a couple of years, we have not had an increase on our supplemental policies. I'm very happy to report that. So our dental and vision with Humana, there are no rate increases, so that's going to continue through the end of next year. Our disability insurance, that is a long-term disability. It's not a short-term, it's a long-term disability. Through One America, the rates are guaranteed through the end of next year. Our life insurance through Sun Life, so this is the basic life insurance that the board provides, which is $10,000, and then there's voluntary life that the employees can purchase. Those rates are guaranteed through next year. The only difference is if somebody has reached a magical age, like 40, 45, 50, 55, they will increase. So I always get that question. That's how they tell you happy birthday. And then we also have a permanent life insurance through Texas Life, and what this is that employees, when they retire, can take this life insurance with them. It's not a lot, but it can be up to $30,000 or $40,000. There's no question. There's just a few questions asked, but they can take that with them and pay that personally. One thing also on the life insurance through Sun Life, our retirees can keep the basic insurance that the board provides. They just pay it on a yearly basis. Those rates are also guaranteed through the end of next year. The FSA, that maximum is for 2023. That's how much someone can put in that account. The IRS doesn't normally let us know until November what that's going to be for 24, but I would imagine to be a little bit higher than that. We have a hospital indemnity plan. The rates are guaranteed through 24, and our Aflac plans are approved. So I would need board approval to continue with those for next
Do I
year.
hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. All right, so on to the health insurance. Last year, as you recall, we didn't have an increase, and that was due to some money that we were able to capture from ESSER and ARC for COVID claims. After working with our brokers, and Kim and I have had discussions on our fund balance and what we anticipate claims to be next year, what we have come up with is a 9% increase. On the very bottom left, you can see what our claims have been. 2014 is not really one to judge on. That was the first year we went self-insured, so those are not fully paid out claims. So don't ever look at that and go, oh my gosh, what's happened? That's just a nominal year. As you can see, they increased in 2021. We were almost at $5 million. That was COVID. And then last year we had a really good year. We went down, and then this year we've seen a large increase, about $1.5 million more in claims. We've had a lot of surgeries, a lot of illnesses. I think part of this is that we can say that, as you know, your grocery bill's higher, your electric bill's higher, doctor bills, hospital bills, pharmacy, those have all gone up. And I think we're seeing part of that too. So Kim and I feel good with doing a 9% increase. As you recall, during negotiations, the board had agreed to pick up that increase, so this will not carry on to the employee. This will just be the board increase. Do you have any questions about that?
And didn't you say last year that the board recouped some money, right, from insurance?
The last couple years, we've been able to, because we were self-insured, one of the things from ESSER and ARP and some of the other, I don't know all the terms, if we had a COVID claim, we could get that, we could reimburse from those funds to pay the COVID claims.
Okay.
So what I got from Florida Blue, it was just a month and the number of COVID claims. No detail,
But it was something.
it was substantial. If we'd been fully insured, we wouldn't have been able to do that. So I believe that's helped us even going into next year.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
So our insurance enrollment will be a little bit later this year. I'm going to have our brokers come in and do the enrollment for us this year. With being short-staffed in my office, I can't do it all, so they're going to come help me the week after Thanksgiving, and they'll take care of those that have questions or need help. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Item number 9, Mr. Lott.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Well, just when we thought we were done with this batch of board policies, the afternoon of the last board meeting, when I introduced that big batch, that afternoon, we got 2 more. And so 3.13 on school volunteers, there was a clarifying best practice for our level 2 screening for volunteers, and also there was some legislative updates that came out of House Bill 1121 on volunteer retirees, and so you can see that that language has been added to our existing policy. You see that in red. And by the way, both of these went to Ms. Kaylee Wade because they both kind of fit into that personnel realm. And so I want to thank her for getting this together and getting it to Ms. Hogan to get to you. Are there any questions on that one? Okay. Our board policy would be 6.1 or 6.57, which is a revision. Really, it's a new policy for us because we did not have that policy. We had tried to cover that in one of the other policies that I introduced in the first batch, But this is all new, so this is all new language for us. We did not have a current drop policy per se, board policy. And so this is an entirely new policy, but it also falls in line with the sick leave payouts that we had changed in the other policies. So these aren't in alignment. And this reflects, the legislative updates with Senate Bill 7024, which basically allows a drop to be extended to 96 months. So, are there any questions on that one? So, what I would like to do is to request permission for us to advertise these two policies.
Do I hear a motion to request for advertising?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes to advertise. Thank you.
Okay, and then on the next agenda item, just going back and reviewing the original, I think 13 that I had brought to you before. Were there any questions or concerns on any of those?
Did anyone address that with you? Any of those?
No public comment.
Any more typos?
Thank you.
No, I hadn't
No more
checked the typos this
No more
time. And I was on a tear that day. It's rare.
Mr. Lott, one question. On the transfer of records, and I've asked this before, I'm trying to remember, what is our policy as far as out of state or not even out of state? New kids coming in, can we wait until we get those disciplinary records before we enroll them in our schools?
Mr. Kemp?
The recommended best practice is to go ahead and get a student in rather than wait on records, because although it's supposed to be 10 days, not every other district is going to get that. And rather having a student sitting out, on the very rare occasion that you have a student who is not with their actual proper guardian, your best chance of finding that out is if they're in school and they have an opportunity to be around another trusted adult. Or if it's a student that might be food insecure or just not have like a good living situation, kind of getting them in is the recommended better practice. Certainly we want to monitor the situation and make sure we don't have a behavior issue up front and continue to try to work with the transmitting district to get those records in as soon as possible, or have a conversation. Like, do we have an issue with the student even before all the records are gathered?
Well, we can do that, because I know we had a batch, it seemed like last year, where we had that issue of a delayed transfer of records.
Mm-hmm.
We do occasionally have that situation.
So,
Or we had students who show up from another country and have no records, so.
and there is that concern about delay in services that they might really need while we're waiting for, all of the records to come in. And my opinion and the opinion of other attorneys on this issue is it's better to fall on the side of let's get services to the student, let's go ahead and get them in school and monitor the situation for behavior.
Okay, maybe have eyes on that student, or just, monitor it, a new enrolled student, because the big question is why sometimes. Right. Okay.
I do need some direction from the board on, are there any other questions on any of those? So we really have two different batches of potential policies now. So this first batch could come back before the board October 24th, I believe.
Yes.
But since now we have two more, would it be your wishes just to delay the vote on those until these last two come back before the board, and that would be November 14th? Or do you want to do them separate? It doesn't matter to me.
I would prefer to do them all together.
Together is fine.
Okay. So I'll just bring all of them for your final approval on the 14th.
And Mr. Lott, that would still fall within our 90-day window?
Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lott. Thank you for bringing that. At this time, if there are any public comments or anybody who would like to address the board, you're welcome to come to the podium now. If not, thank you very much for being here, and we will move on to approval of the minutes. Board members, do I hear approval? The September 26th meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Any comments? I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Minutes are approved. Thank you very much. I'll start with Mr. Whitehurst. Do you have any questions or concerns about our consent agenda?
No questions.
Thank you. Ms. Kaminsky?
No questions.
Mr. Asbell?
No, ma'am.
Ms. Ford?
I spoke with Mr. Coward, all my questions were answered, thank you.
Thank you, and I have all of those answered as well. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I move approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed for our consent agenda? I'm going to ask for a motion for our finance items.
I move approval.
Second.
The motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Finance agenda is approved. Thank you very much. Mr. Cowart, do you have any comments?
Madam Chair, so I think tonight, seeing those two student organizations and getting some information from Ms. Taylor, you see there's a lot of good work going on in our schools and a lot of people that care about our kids that are working with them. So hats off to Ms. Gill and Mr. Wilson. Appreciate their efforts. And then obviously, what a humbling thing to be able to honor Sergeant Rogers on what he's done for a student at Cedar Key. So we appreciate him. So appreciate what he does day in and day out down there. And like I said, I know Cedar Key will miss him. But looking forward to him helping out. So Lieutenant Long, and being there. And what he's going to do.
Getting old, I need the help.
But not to steal anybody's thunder. So hats off to the parents, the students, and obviously the teachers that take the time to put in homecoming. A huge amount of time. So our two communities were represented 2 weeks ago, and then Bronson Middle High School was last week, and just kudos to them. So the student government, just all of the groups that go into, Williston's PTO, Chiefland student government, the parades I thought were really awesome, and it's great to see the kids shine in their element, and then also kind of seeing kids as some people that may have kind of been dark horses that ended up being homecoming queen or whatnot in different communities, and that was really, really nice to see. And obviously it was nice to attend Bronson's homecoming, and I won't steal Mr. Asbell's thunder, but what a wonderful start.
Steal it, baby.
It's okay. To see the Eagles win, 22-0 there. But then I know there was a special thing to start off with, two special things. And other than that, thank you, Ms. Perkins.
Thank you.
And gala. Obviously the gala is Saturday night, and excited about that and what that brings, and that we get to honor the Teacher of the Year and the SREs of the Year, and see that. That'll be a wonderful evening.
Certainly will. Thank you. Mr. Whitehurst?
Thank you. Certainly enjoyed the CTE presentations, and like I said, just seeing the passion that the teachers have for CTSOs, and I certainly always like it when we get here and get to put a spotlight on these different organizations and seeing the better stuff of Levy County, and let it shine. Probably looking forward to the gala. So it's kind of time to really the community and businesses and everybody come together to kind of dress up and get to have a good time, and like I said, put a spotlight and show what Levy County is all about. So look forward to that. Certainly, like I said, enjoyed the Williston homecoming. I know everybody else had good homecomings too. That's like how the communities can come. The community comes together, and like I said, the kids get to have fun, dress up all week, and then Williston did skits, and just like I say, just community, and just kids have a good time and show that there's a lot of good stuff out there, and so I just enjoyed that. Williston Elementary School is having a fall festival on Friday, so I certainly look forward to that. The kids always have a good time at a little haunted house and all kind of stuff, so I look forward to that, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Lindsay?
I enjoyed all the presentations too. I'm really excited. I think it's FEFA, Ms. Taylor? FEFA? Is it?
FFEA.
FFEA, the teacher program in Chiefland. I would love to one day for us to do what I think it was Dixie County that pays your teacher, if you're kind of a homegrown teacher, to do a kickback of some sort. And I feel like that's going in the right direction. So I can't wait to see the Chiefland kids present that, because that's exciting. Yankeetown has their Fall Festival October 27th. And they've been doing coffee chats with the administration on Friday mornings at 8, which I think is such a good idea, and no excuses. There's the administration. If you have an issue, go in there Friday morning. If you can't make the evening, a lot of working parents can't do the afternoon meetings, so that's just something new and exciting. And I hate to end on this, and I don't like bringing something up without a solution, but I have feel that the whole dress code issue in our schools, is that a blanket policy, or is it school by school decides what the dress code is? Is it school by school? It just seems to be creating, I don't know if anyone else is fielding the phone calls I'm fielding, but it's a lot on the admin when you have a middle high school, and you call a couple kids out for X, Y, and Z, and then on the other end of the campus there's X, Y, and Z. And we have everything that we're dealing with in these schools that we see in our expulsion hearings. I just don't know if the whole dress code should always be our mountain to die on. I feel like it's taking up a lot of time at our schools. I don't know what the solution is because, of course, you don't want them to come in a bikini. But at the same time, I just don't know. I think it's worth a discussion down the road. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Aswell?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. It was a great homecoming in Bronson. I told immediately after the homecoming game, I told Ms. Spray, and I will say it here, it's one of the best homecomings at Bronson I have been to in years. There were multiple fascinating things. There was one sad thing. Eddie the Eagle was unable to make an appearance because, as always, Bronson people being so given, Eddie had traveled to Williston for their homecoming to ride on a parade float, and he was tired. So our mascot was tired because, of course, we have to help you. That's why y'all had such good turnout. There was an eagle in it.
That's right.
Anyway, no. So, but now talking about eagles,
take it well care of.
if you were not able to be there, and I gotta say thank you to Mr. Breezy Stockman back there because he's going to be a part of the end result. We had it's been a year or so back. We had a donation of a cast iron eagle that is how tall you think that thing is, Mr. Stockman?
4.5 foot.
And it's very heavy. Was donated to Bronson High School by Black Prong out here. And the Alumni Association had it sandblasted and painted. And it was presented at homecoming, unveiled at homecoming. And it's going to go out in front of the school where we will have an actual eagle out front. You being the devil, it's okay. So it'll be exciting, and we will have an official unveiling at the school where you will all be invited, and Miss Brookins, please don't write your name on it. Behave yourself, and all of you will be compelled to come visit it often, and it'll make you feel better about yourself, and that's what we want. The other thing, the homecoming game, we won the homecoming game. We broke a losing streak that night. And if you were not there, you missed the exciting John Meeks as our announcer. And Bob Euchre has nothing to compare with him. We started off the evening with a mullet dinner that was very successful with the Bronson FFA. And we appreciate all that. The day before we had homecoming. And I was honored to get to drive our superintendent in the parade. He was fun to have back there. We kept him quiet, so you just ride and look pretty, and he did a great job at that. But I must tell you, the highlight of, and if you haven't seen the Facebook post, please go on Facebook and see this. The highlight of the whole thing was our very own, Bronson's very own, Jimi Hendrix played the national anthem on his guitar and shocked everybody. And being his personal roadie, I got the honor of toting his guitar. My son played the national anthem, and it was cool. Especially, he's not a guy that goes around saying, "Hey, I can do this." So nobody in school knew he could do that, and so he had that really cool moment. And it sounded very Jimi Hendrixy. He put a little, as he likes to say, he put a little stank on it. And I was also told by him, if any of you are having parties or get-togethers and you need a guitarist at it, he is available.
Are you his agent?
I'm going to take 10%. But it was a good time, and we really had a great community turnout. I joke about Carson being the highlight. He's not the highlight. The highlight was another thing. As part of the winning the homecoming awards for the classes. One thing they have is penny wars, and it's where they donate change, pennies preferably, and the money goes to some needy cause. Well, this year they raised in pennies $162, and they decided they would donate that money to the we have 2 people going through some cancer treatments at our schools, and out of privacy, probably everybody knows who they are, but we didn't talk about who they are. That money was to be donated to them. The challenge, as always, is for the alumni in attendance that night to match whatever is raised. We raised the money in the course of about a quarter and a half of football, last quarter and a half of football, and we more than 10 times the amount of that was raised just from alumni donations and word of mouth. And so that money is going to go to those 2 folks to help offset it. It has been said before, I will say it now, what's amazing in Levy County is the heart of the people. I think you'll see signs say the heart of the Nature Coast. That's not a location thing. That's this thing that we give to each other. We're all one big family, and we give each other a hard time, but when it cooks right down, we all love each other very much, and we literally put our money where our mouth is, and we help each other when we're down and out, and that's really kind of cool, and that was the true highlight of our homecoming. So I don't have anything else.
Thank you, Mr. Asple. Ms. Boyle?
It was great to hear the excitement from the kids, and I think college is great. I love that route, but I am a huge fan of the CTE and the programs that are happening with our kids and letting them experience different avenues. Because I think if they don't get that experience, how are they going to know? I mean, not everyone is going to go to college. I think it's great. I think it's wonderful for them. I've been blessed to be able to do a couple field trips, bringing the kids back or bringing them to the conferences, and they're so excited. They're just bubbling and talking about so many different things. So it's great to see that. I will bring up my son, piggybacking off of that, because you brought up your son. But this community, based on the belief of our kids, and he's a Chiefland graduate, college wasn't his thing, and this community just recognized him, being the youngest, as 2022 Business of the Year. And he did that all on his own, but it was the community that recognized the passion and the drive of one of our own.
That's cool.
And this community put him in a whole different mindset. And as a parent, that's all you want to see. And see how people look up to everybody. So it was quite a blessing, and I wanted to thank the community here and just say that he's a good product of the teachers that put him through that school, and it shows. The Seafood Festival in Cedar Key, if you want to come down there, it's October 21st and 22nd. I know that if you'd like to, it's the Year of the Clam. They're going to have, I think, 12 clam boats, and everyone's going to get on the clam boats and do the parade on Saturday. So you're welcome to jump on a boat and take a little ride for the parade and then enjoy the festival. But the parade's only happening Saturday. Being your advocacy liaison too, I went and had the FSBA legislative platform organization on the 6th, And our next meeting will be on October 27th. But I know, Mr. Superintendent, that I think we plan as a board to come together sometime between now and then, bless you, to look at what we would like to submit for our legislative platform. And they had a lot of good ideas, a lot of neat deregulations that a lot of other districts are trying to help out with, and hopefully they'll hear us in Tallahassee. And that is all, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, and I think everyone's commented on the great homecomings and the schools, and I agree, and the students, and the passion of the teachers is just remarkable, and we're so proud of them. It's really great. You know, I go to Chiefland High School, and I went to a volleyball game the other night, and I'm gonna just tell you, I'm just so proud of that school. It is just, it's beautiful, it's gorgeous. It's absolutely the best school that's ever been built. But it really is, just every time you go, you're just amazed. And, you know, I went to school in Chiefland, so I'm so proud of that new school. It's so nice. And that's all the comments that I have. Thank you so very much, and nothing else, meeting adjourned.